So me and you actually have a thing in common, don't we?
Yes,
Because we
yeah.
both go to University of Warwick.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. Do you mind introducing yourself quickly then?
For sure, for sure. Yeah. So my name is Matthew, and I'm a first year economics student at the University of Warwick. I'm originally from Manchester, originally from India, but I live in Manchester now. And yeah, so I've been enjoying my time at university so far, and hopefully, we've heard from two very refreshingly honest and insightful speakers there in Tariq and Zainab. So I don't really have anywhere near the life experience you guys have, but hopefully I can add some value with my experience so far.
No, I'm sure you have incredible things to talk about. I saw that you were involved in a lot of things in uni already, and it's already your first year, so I'm sure you have more to contribute and add to that resume. Do you mind telling us about some of the school-led initiatives that you've been a part of?
For sure, yeah. So over the last 4 months, I've kind of been part of the organizing committee for the Warwick Economics Summit, which is Europe's largest student-run academic conference. And so my role essentially has been part of the external relations team. We're trying to bring delegates from lots of different countries to come and visit our conference. And then in the lead up to the summit, I actually got selected as the master of ceremonies. So I got the opportunity to meet with and introduce a lot of our speakers. So we had people like the CEO of the Financial Times, Director General of the World Health Organization, 2 Nobel laureates in economics. So it was really such a phenomenal experience just to be able to meet these people, let alone, lead them in Q&A and discussion was honestly surreal. So, and then on the delegate side, we had people from Sydney, Cape Town, the US. So just bringing all of these people, young people from different countries together to engage in discussion was quite an unforgettable experience and something I hope to get more involved with in the years to come at uni.
Yeah, it's amazing to see, at such a young age, you're involved in such a, I guess, big event, right? Because I even saw Warwick posting on their LinkedIn, actually. So it's amazing that you're sitting right in front of me right now. But how do you think this experience has really shaped your perspective on the importance of youth engagement and leadership and community initiative?
For sure. So I think this year with the summit, we've tried to do a lot differently in terms of making it more diverse and inclusive. So we've actually managed to secure record sponsorship this year. So we've got firms like Deutsche Bank, Ofcom, the European Parliament, and these are all, we're very proud to call them our sponsors this year. And what we've been able to do with that is essentially subsidize tickets for students from marginalized or underrepresented backgrounds. So for example, like women in finance or students from Black and Asian communities. And at the end of the day, it's an academic conference, right? So what this means is we have a much more diverse, range of people, ideas, thinking, and that leads to better discussion and better debate. So hopefully in the years to come, we'll be able to expand that sponsorship and make it so that tickets are, if not free, as close to free as we can make them. So that's the plan.
Yeah, well, I guess, I've been interviewed some of this amazing people. I think it was, sorry, I don't think you actually mentioned who you interviewed during
sure.
your...
Yeah, so I interviewed John Ridding, who's CEO of the Financial Times, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, who's Director General of the World Health Organization. And I think one of the ones that really stood out to me was I did an interview with President Pempet Sering, who is president of the Tibetan Parliament in Exile. And essentially his talk was centered around the fact that Tibet is an area that's been annexed by China. And, for a long time, Tibetan people have sought independence. But as time has gone on, they've realized the chance of independence is becoming slimmer and slimmer. So now all they're really looking to do is coexist in peace with the Chinese people. But at times that's become quite difficult. And so during that talk, actually, right at the end, you can imagine a conference room of 500 people, we had a protest break out in the middle. And I'm the only person on stage with our speaker. And thankfully, we had our community safety team who was able to take out the protesters. But, as the only person on stage, I kind of felt a responsibility to clear the air and explain the situation. So I think I said, this was completely off the cuff. It wasn't planned for at all. So I had to say something along the lines of, at the end of the day, this is an academic conference. We're all here for discussion and debate. And it's our privilege to have speakers like this with us. So we ask that you honor that as well. So I think what that really taught me was the importance of, you can never really plan for any situation. Things like that, we had no idea that was going to come up. But being adaptable, thinking on your feet, and trying to make the best of that situation and try and humanize it. I think sometimes we forget that we're all people. We won't necessarily agree on everything, but being open to those new ideas is very important.
Yeah, because that was actually leading on to my next question. I was going to ask you, what lessons did you learn from interacting with some of this, I guess, jargonets of the industry?
For sure. So I think, as I mentioned there, the very inclusive aspect of this year's summit, you interact with so many different people, and it's just gaining perspectives that you weren't previously, familiar with. Like as Tariq mentioned, living in different countries, they have a completely different mindset. And sometimes, especially in the UK, it's easy to become oblivious to what's happening as young people in other parts of the world. So being open to new ideas and learning from people, I think, is the best way to progress and make yourself a better person, a more rounded individual.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. That's true.
Thank you.
I think, one thing that I think everyone would be really interested to know is about, tell us some of the things you did whilst you were in, I think it was in high school, secondary school.
Yes,
I think that was quite interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So in school, I actually had the opportunity to do a bit of academic mentoring as well. So during year 12 and year 13, I was in charge of kind of tutoring 2 or 3 students, like once a few times a week. And how that worked is essentially these were students who were at the time underperforming, and school didn't really know what to do with them. They were acting up in lessons, and it was becoming difficult to teach a lesson with this going on. And you've got to remember, in school, obviously, it's 30 people in a room. It's difficult for a teacher to give individualized feedback and attention. So what we tried to address with that is try and cover some of those gaps in the knowledge and try and help out where we can. And what I found initially was when these students come to you, they're not really receptive to the idea of learning. They're not too keen on the fact that, they've got someone who's only a couple of years older than them trying to teach them something. But over time, as you build a rapport with them and you realize that it's not that they don't want to learn, it's often, a mask in terms of it's much easier to say, I don't want to do it than I can't do it. So being able to support them and try and fill those gaps in the knowledge was something I found really rewarding. And something that I hope to continue to do during university is to go back to my school and try and help students in that way, or give them any kind of guidance or help and support where it's needed. For sure.
Yeah, you're also the managing director of your school's young enterprise company, I believe, right?
Yeah. So I had a lot of fun with that. So in year 12, I led our student company. We essentially made a mobile app that connects students with work experience placements local to them. And it was a completely new experience for us. I think in 6 months, we developed and launched that app despite having no prior coding experience. We had over 50 businesses local who were partnered with us, offering placements to our users. And we won numerous awards. We got to regional finals of the competition. So it was really great to learn from that experience. And I think it's taught me a lot about leadership and handling people generally. I think, any organization, it's hinged on the fact that the people you work with, you try and bring the best out of them. So putting them in the right places, trying to, maximize their skills, but also give them opportunities for development. I know at the start of the program, we had members of our tech team who were making the app. They were completely averse to the idea of public speaking. They did not want to do it whatsoever. But by the end, we had them speaking at multiple business conferences, around the Northwest. So it's amazing to see that these people are capable. It's just giving them that platform and that opportunity to go and do it, really.
Yeah, so do you mind explaining in detail what exactly was the app that you ended up?
Yeah. So essentially, kind of as I mentioned, it's it connects students with work experience placements. So when we launched, it was very much localized. It was just the Manchester Northwest region. But I think now, obviously, we're all at university now, a bit more spread out. But the hope is to try and expand that a bit more. The person who I was mainly developing the app with, Brian, he's done very well. He's gone to Princeton to study computer science.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think my main partner's kind of ditched me there, but hopefully we can bring on some new people and try and keep the idea going. That's the plan.
Wow, that's amazing that you're able to develop an app. And you said in year 12 as well,
yes,
right?
Yeah, year 12.
Did you face any challenges or any friction when trying to, bring the idea to life?
Yeah, for sure. So I think obviously you have the main obstacle of trying to build a user base. As with any app, if you don't have, the money to market or to be able to promote your service, it's quite difficult to get people on board. So we tried to go around that in that we approached local school trusts and we said that, at the end of the day, these school trusts are going to companies and trying to sign their students up for work experience placements. So why not do that through us? It makes sense to have one platform where it's easy to use. You have an individual login. It's very simple. And so through that process, we were actually able to make contacts with quite a few schools locally. Nothing really came to fruition because of the company program. We had to end it when it came to June. But we made a lot of great contacts and hopefully people we can go back to once we get back going with the idea.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I think that's something that can be a really good benefit to a lot of, young people's life. How do you think you can use, your platform to be more of a positive impact to people going forward in the future?
For sure, yeah. So as I mentioned with the summit, we are really trying to expand the sponsorship for that, try and make it so it's as inclusive as possible. We get people from all over the world to try and share their ideas. And then also on the mentoring side, I'd really love to do more in terms of guiding young people with not just, GCSE, A-level revision, that kind of thing, but being able to guide them career-wise, or being able to say, these are your skills, try and use them the best way possible, and to try and create a positive impact, which I think is really aligned with what UPF is trying to do. At the end of the day, it's a global organization. You're trying to hit communities that are traditionally underserved, and good things come to good people. So try and be that positive influence and that light, and try and bring that energy to other people's lives.
Yeah, because I think me and UPF were working on something similar with a website as well, towards helping young people access work experiences and also coursework and stuff. So targeted towards migrants and refugees.
Amazing.
But I think it's definitely something we can talk about later on.
For sure, yeah.
But thank you for coming on board.
Thank you so
round of applause for Matthew, please, everyone.